Jaguars Drive Time. Brian Sexton, John Oehser, Ashlyn, Sullivan. Jaguars Drive Time starts right now.
And it has everything to do with the Jaguars. The New York Jets upset the LA Rams to get their first win of the season and push the Jaguars to number 1 in draft position. Is this a current good thing for the coaches and players internally in this franchise? No, of course not. That means the losing streak has continued. But for Jaguars fans, especially on Twitter, this is a very happy Monday, and we see both sides of it here on Jags Drive Time. Welcome in Ashlyn, Sullivan, Brian Sexton, and John Oehser. I'm going to wait to go to Brian because I know he's been waiting for this. John, what does this mean for the Jaguars? And we understand both sides, but this is an opportunity to go get a guy that everyone has been talking about all season long, Trevor Lawrence. It's something we have to address right here, right now.
Yeah, and I think most fans get it, but the Jets and the Jags are now tied, but the Jaguars have the worst strength of schedule. And I think I'm saying that, right? Or the best strength of schedule. No, worst. I'm sorry, worst. So regardless, if it continues
weakest
this
is
way,
the word you're looking for. Weakest,
yes. So if it continues this way, and nothing changes by the end of the season, that probably won't change enough, the SOS as they call it, the strength of schedule. And the Jaguars, if both teams lose or finish with the same record, would have the number 1 pick. And it's if Trevor Lawrence is everything people say is, it would indeed be a game changer. I'll say this later on in the show, it ain't there yet, but it's certainly, I guess you would call it an opportunity. And it's really hard to talk about it because you know it's not what the coaches and the players are thinking. But so there's going to be this weird dynamic the rest of the season, but it's certainly there.
All right, Brian, go for it.
Well, I don't know what, I mean, I've been open, I've been blatant about this since we were on the air that day, right before the season began, and we got the news that Leonard Fournette had been released, okay? I mean, we can talk all you want about what they had done, Yannick Ngakoue being traded, and Calais Campbell, and Nick Foles, but clearly, and no one wanted to say it because the players and coaches, we had to be sensitive to them, but we're all out in the open here now. This is the conversation that's taking place, and they know it too, so why avoid the obvious? This whole season was about resetting, not for Doug, not for the players. For them, it was about proving their worth, their value, their belonging. That's what players and coaches do every day. So the Jets' loss has no bearing on Doug Marrone, his staff, or the players. But for Jaguars fans, not just Twitter. Somebody said on Twitter, forget just Twitter. That's a small portion. For Jaguars fans, right? People are excited because this kid is of the John Elway, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck sort of a school of thought. I've talked to a lot of people in the scouting community, and there's nobody that's one person that worried a little bit about his release. Other than that, everyone says, no, this kid is as close to a can't miss as you find in the draft, and he's here for the Jaguars right now. Guys, it didn't work out that way at other moments when they were high in the draft. Certainly not with the number 2 overall pick in 2013. This wouldn't be anything to be excited about if this was 2013 and there are 2 offensive tackles, right? Luke Jokel, Mark Fisher sitting at the top of the draft like it was back then. There's a quarterback there, and it's something for this franchise to be excited about. We haven't had that this year. I'll just say this, and we'll talk a lot about this, but if you go back to 97, look at what a quarterback named Peyton Manning did for a franchise that you probably don't remember was the team that people were talking about going to LA. They played in a convention center, and Indy hadn't wrapped their arms around them since they arrived in the early 80s. And then Peyton Manning comes along, they start winning. Now they've got a stadium, and they're considered a bedrock franchise. Go to the Patriots, right? They were talking about moving to Hartford. They played in a terrible stadium. And they were talking about Hartford, Connecticut, which is, you know, it's still New England, but it's closer to New York than Boston. And then Brady comes along, and they start winning, and they build a new stadium, and here it goes. if this kid is what people think he is, this is the guy that gets this fan base excited. This is the guy that gets city council more excited about doing a deal to redevelop the riverfront and make all of this, long term. It's a game changer, as John said. I woke up feeling like it's Christmas. Now, I get it. People in the building don't feel that way. And they're going to present a game on Sunday, and they're going to talk about what it takes for the Jags to win. I get all of that. But at this moment in time, winning is losing for this franchise. Because beyond Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Fields, the Wilson kid, Zach Wilson from BYU, Trey Lance, there are questions about all of them. No one really has questions about what Trevor Lawrence has done. No one. So you want this kid. Just let it play out. Just let it play out at this point. You get a Bears team that's coming in 7-7 and still in the playoff race. And you have a Colts team that's tied with the Titans and they're still fighting for something. Just let it play out.
Yep, Miles Jack said last week he can't even go to the gas station without Jaguars fans talking about Trevor Lawrence, and that just amplified times 100 yesterday, and that is obviously the biggest news of today. As we get into big things, I haven't even mentioned the Baltimore Ravens game yesterday, the Jaguars losing to the Ravens 40-14, and big thing one is one moment. This never really felt like a game the Jaguars could win, except for this one moment. Josh Jones' interception at the beginning of the game gave them the offense an opportunity, only for a safety to then occur. The glimmer of hope was just that, a glimmer, a small glimmer. Big thing too is stats don't matter, and we showed you this as we just talked a ton about the quarterback position. Take a look at Gardner Minshew's stat, 120 quarterback rating, 22 of 29. You say, hey, that's pretty good. Well, if you watch the game, you realize that's not very good. The stat line of a quarterback who was very hesitant to throw downfield and playing it safe for sure. Gardner Minshew tells us what he saw from the first half of the game that only gave the offense 61 yards total.
It was very hard. It felt like everything we were doing, they had an answer for it. I thought they played really well. And we didn't execute consistently enough in the first half.
Big thing 3, a Christmas miracle. It's coming this week. While fans all over will say, no, please no. I saw put A.J. Cann in on Twitter. Yes, I really did see that. Put A.J. Cann in at quarterback. We get that. The coaching staff and players, like we said, do not feel like that. The Chicago Bears coming in here after a big win over the Vikings yesterday, and a win over that would be just that. Christmas miracle.
We're gonna try to go on to Chicago. Instead of this team has been going through a lot. They've been trying hard, and we understand that, and I know they're professionals. But hey, can we gather up all of us together? Coaches and players, and the greatest gift that we can all give to each other is the gift of winning a football game. That's what I told them afterwards.
There you have it. Those are big things. And John, I go to you, that one glimmer of hope we talked about, and you definitely said this last week, that this always felt like a game that could get ugly, that could slide downhill fast, and it really just never felt like a game. Even when the Jaguars scored those 2 touchdowns, it was too far of a gap.
Well, it was over before the second half started, certainly. It's 26-0, and they had done nothing, and you knew if they got close, the Ravens would just turn it on and score again. They had 6 of 7. After the safety, they scored on 6 of 7 possessions, and the exception was the end of the half, and they missed a 57-yard field goal. So the Ravens were going to win this. I had said all week, their matchup, being able to run against the Jaguars defense that couldn't stop the run anymore, their incentive versus the Jaguars having no incentive. There's a few games each year when you're struggling like this, where this is going to happen. This felt like it. There really wasn't a whole lot to talk about, and I think that was indicative that only Minshew and Marone talked after the game. What was there to say about this one? As Doug said, you don't need to hear coaches say this. The Ravens were just a better team yesterday, and he told the team that in the locker room. They knew what they were dealing with yesterday.
Right, and then you go, Brian, that first half, offensively, only 61 yards of offense. They couldn't get anything going, and that goes boiling down to Gardner Minshew, just definitely that unsureness to throw the ball.
The numbers don't matter. I mean, I said this last night on Rapid Recap. Forget it. Trust your eyes. Did you see a quarterback that was capable of mounting any sort of threat to the Ravens when the game was in doubt? No, not at all. They looked feeble at times. And he's not the guy. This is not the offense. You put up some numbers in the second half when they changed the way that they play, and they did change the way that they play. This is professional football, not college. You don't measure strength of victory based on margin of victory when you start thinking about bowl games. We have the playoffs. It's a totally different thing. So they backed off, and okay, nice drive to begin the third quarter, and then the rest of it was just, it's garbage time. And you can't look at those stats the same way and go, well, look here, look, this proves this. It doesn't. The offense was ineffective. It was, I don't want to say incompetent, but 61 yards. It couldn't get out of its way. It couldn't do anything. Couldn't run, couldn't throw, couldn't block, couldn't catch. I mean, it was bad offense. So don't let the numbers in the second half influence. And I don't think most people are. Right? There are some, small vocal minority of Gardner's great fans that just won't let it go. I mean, those are the same people arguing, why do you want Trevor Lawrence? You've got Gardner Minshew. Okay, whoa, hold on a sec. I want to touch on one other thing. I didn't think they played very smart. Josh Jones catches the ball and goes into the end zone. Well, what's he going to do? Return it 100 yards for a touchdown? Don't tell me about making a play. Go down, right? Just take the 20 yards and go down. You get the penalty. Now you're starting on the 1 and you have no punter. I mean, that's just not smart football at all. Next play, Gardner Minshew, double pumps in the end zone. What are you doing? This is the Ravens and they're bringing heat. You can't stand there with too much time. Make the quick throw. Get rid of the ball. They just didn't play very smart yesterday on either side of the ball.
Yes, and we've talked many times, for the Jaguars to be effective, everything has to go right. You can't shoot yourself in the foot, that's for sure, and that definitely happened yesterday. When we come back on Jags Drive Time, some very exciting highlights you're going to want to stay tuned for coming up.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s, and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity.
Hi folks, Frank Frangie here for the best barbecue in town. That's Bono's. And now it's the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. All season long, you can get Bono's barbecue at 6 different locations in Everbank Field. You also get Bono's barbecue at 15 locations all around town with fast, friendly service, clean family restaurants, and that great taste of Bono's barbecues. If you want great barbecue, you want Bono's. And remember this, if there ain't a pit, it ain't legit. That's Bono's.
Why do you choose Farah and Farah? First, we have the financial resources to take on any insurance company. And our track record proves that we know how to win. Our attorneys and staff are a team, and we've worked together for decades. To us, our job is much more than just a paycheck. We love to help. And this is important. We never forget. It's not about us. It's all about you. Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
Jags Drive Time is presented in part by TIAA Bank, created to serve, built to perform. By Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. And Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good.
Farah and Farah reminds you to continue to wear a mask. Help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family since 1979. Alrighty, here we go. Highlight. And I didn't have a lot to choose from, but we still have it. So here we go. Remember that glimmer of hope we just discussed in Big Things? Well, here it is.
Things normally pan out pretty well. Jackson to the air, has time, looking for Brown deep, and it's intercepted. Josh Jones on the interception.
No. Just go down, Josh Jones. Brian just said, just take a knee. Alrighty, offense, here you go. A chance to make something happen. What do you do with it?
It's a play fake. Minshew in trouble. Down he goes. It's a safety. Matthew Judon bringing down Minshew.
Oh, not that. And you see, Brian and John, here's where I had trouble picking highlights after this. I could have shown the 2 Jaguars touchdowns, but it didn't impact the game score. And then I said, okay, which Ravens touchdown am I going to pick? This one.
Lamar, good protection by the offensive line. He's going to step up, and he throws on the run to the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown, and that is Dez Bryant. He throws up the X. It's his first touchdown in over 3 years.
First touchdown in over 3 years. Jaguars, you don't want to be a part of that. And there you have it. John, you said I might have a little difficulty picking highlights yesterday, and indeed, I did. What'd you think?
Yeah, well, those were as good as any. I mean, it's. I wrote in a piece I do for Jaguars.com for Monday mornings, which is what we learned. And I think what I learned in the last 2 weeks was that the attrition on this team is real. I don't know if it's attrition or fatigue, but they fought for 4 or 5 games out of the bye. They fought with what we talked about each week with incredible effort and savvy for what was on the roster. They've made 79 roster moves. If you look at the interior of this defense, they're playing with kids, and it's not very deep. And they're going to have to add in the offseason some major stoutness there. It felt like the last 2 weeks, they didn't have anything left to fight with. The tanks were low. The energy was gone. I don't think it's that they're not trying. But when you look at the Ravens and the Titans, who can will their way offensively against teams, it looks like a Jaguars defense that doesn't have anything left to give. It's not that they're not trying, but there's nothing left to give. And that's, after about 16, 17 minutes when it was 16-0 yesterday, you could start writing. You could start doing whatever you were with the game if you were covering it, because it was over, because there was nothing left.
Right, and Brian, it's almost like when that safety occurred, and it is only 2 points, and normally an offense could come back from that, you kind of felt just like, ugh. Once they got in a hole, you knew it was going to be nearly impossible for them to get out of it, even though it was just a safety.
Well, it's just, John talked about how they were in games until last week against Tennessee, and then all of a sudden it was pretty apparent that they didn't have the bodies, and the guys that they did have didn't have the talent necessarily to stay with teams like Baltimore and Tennessee, who were near the top of their division and fighting for playoff positioning. And that's what it was. So that was just, you get the play. And the minute Jones, kept running, trying to get out of the end zone, I thought, oh boy, here we go. This is really bad. Because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you don't have a punter. Oh, what are you doing? But still, they line up. You're thinking, okay, let's see if Minshew can make a play. And the balloon is popped instantly. You have that moment of, all right, they're going to make a game out of this. And then it was gone. And then, of course, you don't have a punter. They get good field position. They come down. It's 9-0. Game is over at that point. It's just, I don't know. We've been saying the same thing for so many weeks now. You're tired of saying it. People are tired of listening to it. That's why the Trevor Lawrence thing has people excited, because it's been so long since they've been able to be excited about anything. They would have rather you show Jets-Rams highlights this morning, Ashlyn. They would have wanted to relive the end of the game when the Jets finally won, as opposed to the Patriots game and the Raiders game where they lost on the last play of the game, right? I mean, it's just people are tired of watching the same old thing from this team, but this team isn't capable of delivering anything really new because you don't have a quarterback and you don't have guys on defense. And, well, I mean, what we've been talking about.
One thing,
Indeed, it was a very... What'd you say, John?
People always talk about effort at the end of the season. Do players stop trying, like in games like this yesterday? Well, I've always said it's never about the players not wanting to play well or play hard. I've always thought that it's about one or two guys, or the whole team, trying to do too much. And that becomes where it gets frayed. We've seen it a lot over the years here in the Jaguars. And the first couple of plays were probably indicative of that. Josh Jones, it wasn't that he wasn't trying to win. It's that he shouldn't come out of the end zone. He was trying to do too much, trying to make that play. Gardner Minshew the same way. He wasn't trying to lose, but he should have thrown the ball away. Well, he pump fakes and tries to make that extra play. So that's what usually happens at the end of seasons like this. And you see scores that make people say, well, they're not trying. They quit on the coach. It's not an element of that. It's just you start doing things that you shouldn't be doing because there's a desperation and the direction's lost. It's just over and they know it. So I thought we saw that a couple times yesterday. Just an aside, and we can move on.
Well, hold on.
Yes.
What you're really saying, and I thought about this analogy yesterday watching the game, is you've got a team that's pushing a massive boulder up a hill, and it's too steep of a hill. I mean, the hill is 13 straight losses. And every week it goes from being a grade, that's manageable to almost this. So you're absolutely right, John. You've got guys who are fighting to lift this boulder and push it up. And the hill's just too steep right now for all the reasons that you enumerated. Guys who are injured, guys who aren't playing well. I mean, think about the offensive line and all the sacks they gave up yesterday, right? And forget whether they're his fault for holding on to it or their fault for not keeping with their blocks. But when the Ravens there was blood in the water and they went after it. And they've got the athletes to do it. I don't care who your offensive linemen are. When every play you are backpedaling, trying to keep guys who are coming after your quarterback with everything they have, and you're down and no chance to win the ball game, again, you're trying to push a boulder up a grade like that.
Yes, definitely a challenge this entire season. Gardner Minshew sacked 5 times yesterday, but overall the Jaguars just backs against the wall the entire game. So those are your highlights that I said would be very exciting, and you stay tuned for them. We thank you for that. When we come back, some Bernie Woodfire Grill hot takes coming up on Jags Drive Time.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Jaguar fans, Jack Hanany is Audi Jacksonville and Jack Hanany is Audi Orange Park. Have the luxury and exotic cars you're looking for. Lamborghini, Porsche, Audi, Rolls-Royce, and more. Over 400 new and pre-owned exotic vehicles waiting for you. With special financing up to 180 months and long-term leases, you can afford to drive your dream car from Hanany Exotics at Audi Jacksonville and Audi Orange Park. Online at HananyExotics.com. See deal for complete details.
You won't find a better deal to keep your ride clean than Scrubble's Flexible Service Car Wash. Start in the tunnel wash and experience state-of-the-art equipment while enjoying a soapy light show. Our quality soaps and solutions keep your vehicle streak-free. Every 3-minute car wash package comes with self-serve vacuuming, lint-free towels, window cleaner, and a free air freshener. Visit us at the St. John's Town Center, Fleming Island, and Atlantic Beach. And coming soon to Kernan and Atlantic. Trust the bow tie. You'll know quality once you arrive. Go Jags!
Back on Jags Drive Time, time for a hot take sponsored by Bernie Grill, an all-natural self-burning grill. Check out berniegrill.com. All right, Brian, take it away.
Well, I'm changing mine, Ash, because last night when we talked, there was no way that I thought that the Jets would win in Los Angeles. I still thought the Jets might win. They might trip up the Browns, or they might get the Patriots. Bill Belichick might throw it so he doesn't have to play against Trevor Lawrence every season in the AFC East. And sit everybody on the final Sunday of the year, but I didn't think they were going to go win in Los Angeles. So my hot take is this. The Jaguars are sitting in the catbird seat right now to get the game-changing quarterback that we've talked about, but he isn't theirs yet. COVID-19 can change everything. What if both quarterbacks for the Bears come down with COVID this week? Or you just don't know, what if the Colts lose their entire defensive line. I mean, anything can happen, including the Jaguars come out and play well. I didn't think the Jets were going to win in LA. You tell me I don't think the Jaguars can win at home? Of course they can. So even though it isn't as likely, and I'm not inclined to pick them because the Bears are coming in with a couple of wins and they've got momentum, and we always talk about teams at the end of the season that need to win generally winning, right? It ain't there yet. And there's still, some deep breaths to be taken and some high heartbeats that need to come down before the final zeros on the clock in Indianapolis. So it looks good, and it felt like Christmas morning this morning to know that they have a shot at the absolute franchise-altering quarterback, but it ain't there yet. So I wouldn't go counting your presents too quickly.
Mm-hmm. Anything can happen, and we say playoff teams in December normally win, but hey, look at the Rams as an example. That was a must-win game for them, and they didn't win. The Jets did. So, John, now your hot take.
Well, I guess this is why we plan shows in advance, because that was my hot take. So don't assume the Jaguars will lose out. And I think all you have to know that Brian's exactly right is to watch Adam Gase and Sam Darnold last night when they were asked by the Jets media basically the questions that would get asked by Jaguars fans to the players if they went. And they both looked and they're like, we don't care about that, to paraphrase. Our job is to go win, and that's what they're going to do. All 53 players on this team, all the coaches, are going to do everything they can to beat the Bears next week. And it's not like that's an impossibility. I think there will be one of these last two games where the Jaguars are in the fourth quarter. And, it's professional football. Nothing's over till it's over. So my hot take, just like Brian's, there's no guarantee that they will lose out.
Coaches playing for jobs, players putting to put good film on. So yes, I agree. It's definitely about wins right now. All right, my hot take is something that I don't say quite often. John was right. We go back to last week, and John put out there the option for Jalen Ramsey to do the Jaguars a favor, and we would call it even. All the drama, all the turmoil, no problem.
Put him in the pride.
Kind of sort of did that. Only had 2 tackles the entire game, and I know he wasn't targeted often, and I'll give him that, but it just makes it sweeter. My timeline was full of Jaguars fans thanking him, tweeting at him, "Thank you, Jalen. Merry Christmas." And if it's one thing Jaguars fans are, it's petty. And I love being petty. They call me Ashlyn Petty Sullivan for a reason. Embrace the pettiness. It's funny. And John, thank you, Jalen. You put it out there.
Hey, all is forgiven.
Not a problem.
I'm still not putting him in the pride.
We'll see. We'll see how this year
Although
goes.
I saw.
All right, those are Bernie Wood Fire Grill hot takes. When we come back, some NFL headlines here on Jags Drive Time.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity.
Pinpoint, the official signage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, helps business decision makers like you maximize the impact of their brand. Your company's identification, advertising, and even the words you use make an impression on your clients. With Pinpoint as your coach, you can make sure it's a good impression. Pinpoint provides the creative design and production services for anything you need to enhance your brand, from custom signage to complete marketing solutions. Step up your game with Pinpoint and create the ultimate brand experience for your clients. Visit experiencepinpoint.com.
At ViStar, we believe in better, especially in helping build a better financial future for our members. So we've reviewed our offerings from the ground up. We've lowered or eliminated over half our fees and enhanced our already competitive rates, saving members more than $1 million this year, in addition to the millions we save them every year. If you believe that saving money is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
Jags Drive Time is presented in part by Dreamfinders Homes, homes that fit your lifestyle. Next Grill, everyone's invited. And Adecco. Visit ADECOUSA.com.
Game day this Sunday is just around the corner, and we can't wait to be Duval together again. The Jaguars are taking every precaution to keep our fans safe at TIAA Bank Field this fall. From cashless concessions to contactless entry, visit jaguars.com/stadium to learn more. Back on Jags Drive Time, Monday means NFL headlines brought to you by Brian Sexton himself.
Well, just a couple of quick ones that you may have missed yesterday while watching the Jets and the Rams in the late game. The party's over in New England, and this proves the whole euphoria around a franchise quarterback, because for the first time since 2008, when Tom Brady was injured against Kansas City in the season opener, 12 seasons now, Patriots are out of the playoffs, and they will finish with a losing record for the first time since Bill Belichick's first season as their coach 2 decades ago. Guys, I remember being up there when we scrimmaged against the Patriots in 2017 and seeing all those little Patriots fans run around, kids that are 16, 17, with all the jerseys on and all the, the rings and the championship. That's all they had ever known. They must be confused today. They don't know what losing is. They've never experienced it until now. The party's over for them in New England. All right, moving on. Bad day for Breeze. And, last week, Sean Payton sort of hinted that this was it for Breeze, that, this was the last go-around and they were going to make the most of it. Coming back from not 1, not 2, not 3, not 5, not 7, not 9, but 11 breaks in his ribs. 11. It's unreal. Started 0 for 6. He has never started a game 0 for 6 and finished with a 44% completion percentage, which is among the lowest, the third lowest, I think, in his nearly 20-year career. A brilliant career, but it appears that the Saints will be trying to figure things out at quarterback in 2021. And if I can call up my screen here, we'll end on this one. Aaron Rodgers, who is not above a little pettiness himself, getting after his teammates and talking about a sour taste in his mouth after what appeared to be kind of a lackluster win over the Carolina Panthers. Well, I mean, they had the same kind of win over the Jaguars. It wasn't until the fourth quarter in Lambeau when he said, these are the Jaguars. We got to go beat these guys. And, he went right down the field and got the touchdown. And that's kind of the way they've won some of these games lately. Who cares? They are 11-3. And as of right now, home field advantage goes through Lambeau. And as John can attest, Lambeau in December is a really different environment than the Superdome in any month of the year, for that matter. But, I guess take your shots, couple games left, poke the bear a little bit and see if you can get them riled up and guarantee yourself that home field advantage. Not that it always works. Ask Tom Coughlin and the Giants. 2007, they went up into the belly of the beast and beat Brett Favre at Lambeau Field, on their Super Bowl march. So it can happen. And I have one last little pontificate, one last little note. And you guys probably are seeing the same thing. Hey, let's start Aldrich Rosas at quarterback this week. And Hayes Carlian had a tweet earlier that made me laugh about the week, the ping pong tournament and the cheesecake eating contest on Saturday. But on a serious note, the integrity of the game must be honored, okay? Put your team out there. Put your coach, put your players out there. Put your best out there. Work hard this week. That's what they get paid for. Honor the game. Don't do anything that will impugn the integrity of the game. The Jaguars are in the mix for this quarterback because they legitimately are one of the 2 worst teams in football this year, and they legitimately have gone about resetting things for 2021. That is legitimate. You put A.J. Cann at quarterback, you're making a laughingstock of your franchise and the NFL. And if I'm the commissioner, man, I'm fining you to the maximum of my ability in charge of this league. Don't dishonor the game that we all love, that makes a lot of people a lot of money and a lot of people happy when their team is winning. Don't impugn the integrity of the game. Do it with honor. Do it with honor.
Honor. I have a feeling Doug Marrone will not be putting A.J. Cann in at quarterback, regardless of some fans that have said that. They're going to go out there. They're going to game plan. They're going to try to win. Doug Marrone's going to say that today, this afternoon in his press conference. Then we'll be back Wednesday morning talking about this game against the Chicago Bears, with obviously draft position looming in the conversation now wherever we go. So the way it is with a 13-game losing streak. Thanks for tuning in to Jaguars Drive Time. We will see you Wednesday.